Hello, welcome to this week's paint along. We are going to continue on with the blacks. So we did the second color. We did this on all of the where we're putting black before, if you don't remember. And then we had focused in on just this one little part of the face, just to kind of show. Sorry. Just to kind of have one little bit finished. Alright, so just gonna go ahead and come in with that third color. Me, I'm getting over a cold. And with how much different stuff there is, it's good to kind of figure out for yourself of like what's going to help you remember what you've done. Whether that be like you stop and do each of the different layers on each horn, or I will try and kind of have like I get to a point and then like right here feels like a good spot to branch off and go along this wing and just do all of these with that third color. So figure out, like, just try out some things and just see what helps you remember. And if it's your first couple of dragons, or just, your first one for sure, you'll probably realize at some point that maybe you missed some spots or some horns or something. Or scales. Especially the scales can be hard to keep track of sometimes. Just understand that that is something that happens. You just have to figure out for yourself what would be helpful for you to help you kind of keep track of where you're at. For these underside, this is probably the highest I'll go with these, since they would be in shadow. Now, if you really want to get like perfect blendings where this really is acting as a highlight to black, you can do wet blending, or what I typically do is I just go ahead and do all my layers like I would normally do them, and then I come back with a black glaze. And it's basically specifically when I'm doing black is when I just find it's easier to do the glazing instead of wet blending with when it comes to black. And I just remembered I forgot that I was doing the pads of the feet. It's black. Just come back and get those quick. Okay, now for that highest highlight, which is only going to be, we're not going to be doing on as much. I got this thin, thin down quite a bit more. And I am going to kind of bring this back on this side too, just to make sure, since we did kind of technically make a different mix today, just a good way to keep it cohesive. And also just kind of noticing we lost a bit of highlights on that side when I did do the glaze last time. And that can be kind of a lot of back and forth thing with glazing. There's some similar back and forth that you're doing with wet blending and glazing. I feel like glazing offers a little bit more control. That's just kind of my opinion. Don't feel it too bad if you just need to take it and stand it back up just to double check, the direction the light is hitting things. There's no rule that says you have to be able to know where light hits. Or to never have to cheat, quote unquote. To help you know where to put highlights and shadows. I mean, that's kind of, if you want to call something cheating, that's, what Zenithal priming is all about. Which if you just Google that, I think it's spelled Zenithal, something like that. There's all sorts of examples out there. You usually need something to somehow spray your paint. So it is not something I do. Hence why I'm suggesting that you can Google it, because you probably won't see it all on this channel. And I know that this tail is technically under the wing, but you also have to think about the fact that this is not a, medium creature or something underneath their arm or something, like for this guy. Like that would be in shadow, but in this case, it's a larger creature. So this, even though it's under the wing, actually there's enough room where light would be getting in. So we can put highlights in here and it won't be as long as you don't necessarily go quite as strong as something, say, up here, where we would and most definitely be getting direct. But we don't need to put it as dark as the stuff that will be here, where the underside of the wing, or like even this leg, I think will still keep a little bit dark. Definitely this leg for sure. But yeah, we can kind of get away, get away, so to speak, with putting this highest highlight on down here, even though it's technically underneath something. Now we're going to do glazes. I think I'm going to try and focus it a little bit, not just slather it on. Still going to be hitting most of the surface where the black needs to be, but I'm going to be doing it purposeful. Which that is another way you can apply glaze. You can either just slap it on and then kind of use a clean dry brush, or clean off your brush you used, and then kind of like wipe up the excess. And you know, if you get done even before the glazing and you like how it looks, even though it doesn't look black, I think that's okay. You can always change, pivot what your plans are. That does mean you'll probably have to change, you know, the other colors a little bit. You might just need to keep the red dark, because then you know, here, that's pretty light. And I actually, if I was gonna stick with that and not glaze it down, I would actually even then just take that previous color before the highest highlight and even just kind of do a bit more all around just kind of make it stronger. If I had decided to pivot. So don't be afraid, like, to, you know, decide to change things. Or vice versa, if you you know, you've done the glazing, you don't like how it looks, you can just paint over it. You decide that you want it to be light, all these horns and claws and stuff, then you can easily just go back and highlight them back up and undo the glazing. Essentially, you want to let the glaze dry before you do that, though. This one in particular looks like it has maybe sharp edges here, so I'm gonna kind of try and accent those just to help the eye see that. So I think these are definitely good. Some of these up here are a bit, they're still looking a bit too strong. And if you're having a lot of trouble even with following along with this, I would probably recommend maybe actually picking a different color. That can be really hard to do. To like actually highlight it, but not have it turn gray or ivory. Since I'm technically using a really, really dark brown, it is it'll go more ivory, more towards ivory. So I'm using brown liner for this. Okay. So in person, this actually doesn't look as bright as what's showing up. So I'm actually probably gonna leave that. But the easiest thing to do is just kind of look around the mini and just let your eye listen, kind of listen to what your mind is telling you through your eyes. So if it's saying like that doesn't look black anymore, then just do a little more work, glazing or wet blending, whichever you want to do. If they're kind of thinned, feeling like you don't see any highlights anymore, then you come back with your highlights. Again, you can either wet blend or do layering in that case. I'm pretty happy with where things are at, so I think I'm going to call the blacks done for now on this guy. So then we can move on to all of the red on this guy, which there will be a lot. So thanks for joining and sticking around. And remember, if you want to get early access to these videos, you head on over to my Patreon and join at either tier and check out some of the other perks that come along with those as well. Thanks again and enjoy. See you next week.